Lofi Poli Sci coming at you. Michael Pickering here talking our famous question. What's going on in the world today? And let's go. We got that Lo-Fi Global for you on a Thursday, fresh off that press. In Japan, a district court out in Osaka just announced that they have upheld the country's law stating that same-sex marriage is not legal and or constitutional. And thus, same-sex marriage in Japan remains banned. Although this decision is going to be appealed, this is a wake-up call for everyone out here. You know, the world is extremely diverse, and while we may be celebrating Pride Month, there's still a lot of places in the world where governments really are not helping out the effort. And we'll be following this story moving forward and let you know how the appeal goes for sure. Now to updates in Colombia and France. But Colombia first. They do indeed have a new president and vice president. It turns out that Gustavo Petro, who we've talked about before as a former rebel or freedom fighter, depends on your perspective, well, he won. And importantly, historically, the vice president, Francia Marquez, will be the first female black vice president in the country's history. Way to go, Colombia, showing you do want diversity and change. And we look forward to seeing where Colombia goes next with their new leaders. And a quick update to France as far as the French national parliamentary elections that took place on Sunday. Well, President Emmanuel Macron's party and friends, they did not win a majority in the parliament, which means Macron is going to have to work with an opposition coalition running parliament, perhaps. It's hard to say just what this coalition will shape up to be like, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye close on this one, because this matters not just for France, but for the European Union as well. And another update in France, where Monday we talked about the mayor of Grenoble appealing a court decision that blocked his allowance of bikinis to be worn in public pools. Well, the French Council of State, basically the French Supreme Court, ruled in favor of blocking bikinis, and thus effectively and officially reinstated a ban on bikinis in public pools. And there was talk of religion and secularism and of hygiene in public pools and dress codes But you know what? I think this decision speaks pretty loudly for itself. What do you think, people? Write on in on this one. And last week, we did El Salvador's Country in the Spotlight episode. Yesterday, we did Australia, so don't forget to check that one out. But an update to our continuing coverage of events in El Salvador. And yes, I pulled out the boring newscaster voice for you because I know some of you out there may be like, why are we talking about this again? Aren't we supposed to travel all the way around the world? Well, El Salvador's Congress just announced and signed a third extension of the state of emergency in the country. And now the number of arrests since the state of emergency had begun at the end of March is over 41,000 people. Now, where may that number be coming from, you might ask? And really, Lo-Fi listeners, you should be asking that. Numbers like this from international news, you should wonder who comes up with these numbers. And you know, because I looked around and I couldn't find any reasonable sourcing or citations for that number. So I said, I know where to go. I went to the El Salvadoran government website and to the official website of the president of El Salvador and their presidential press releases. And on Tuesday, the president's website published their official request to Congress to re-up the state of emergency. And in that request, the president's office states that they, begin quote, captured more than 41,000 suspected gang members or collaborators nationwide, end quote. Now, this is important right here because human rights groups like Amnesty International, as well as the United Nations itself, have been increasingly vocal that there's a lot of people being arrested that have nothing to do with the cartels and gangs. But here, in this official press release from the president's office, they are painting the picture that the 41,000 people arrested so far are all suspected gang members or collaborators. Now, we can clue in on the word suspected used by the president's office. You know, this could surely be argued that the government is saying that some of these people may end up being innocent, but they're still justifying the mass arrest by stating that they are suspected. And under the state of emergency laws, that's all they need to arrest people. Normal rights of the people are suspended under the state of emergency. Remember that. So eyes wide open on El Salvador people, as the mass arrests are going to continue for at least another 30 days. And shout out to Amelia for helping with the translation of the Spanish from the El Salvadoran president's website, because I most certainly was not going to trust Google, and my Spanish is shaky to say the least. Thank you, Amelia. You are spectacular. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. I was browsing around different science and tech sections, and I decided, why not check out the NASA website and see what they got going on lately? And I'm so happy I did. Firstly, because this story is awesome and I support the message behind it all. But secondly, because I completely missed this last year. On September 25th, 2021, on National Comic Book Day, NASA released their first interactive graphic novel, titled First Woman, issue number 1, Dream to Reality. I'll quote the summary here. Begin quote. Dream to Reality follows Callie's trailblazing path as the first woman on the moon. Callie and her robot sidekick, RT, overcome setbacks, disappointments, and tragedy along the way. From her childhood dreams of space travel to being selected as an astronaut candidate, Callie takes us on her journey to the moon. End quote. I think this is great, as Callie is a woman of color, and NASA is actually planning to send the first woman and person of color to the moon in just the next few years. Inclusivity in space. Yes, please. And First Woman is available to read for free online on NASA's website. Check it out, people. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Right on in, people, we want to hear your words. And it's not a cliche or a catchphrase. It's a lifestyle. Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Talk to you tomorrow, Lo-Fi listeners. Pickering, signing off. A little behind the scenes for all you Lo-Fi listeners that stuck around. Episode 500 is coming up on July 8th. Keep an ear open. I'll likely be reaching out real soon for some help with ideas and maybe some other things for the episode.